Good morning, campers. Welcome back. I'm Ms. Jackson, back at you with another video for our math lessons. So it is Space Week, so we are adventuring this week into space, and I hope you all are enjoying learning about space, learning about different attributes of space, and we're gonna get right to our math. So today we're actually gonna do two things. We are going to make sure that you can fluently add and subtract. And while we're doing that, we also want to make sure that you understand vocabulary terms related to addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, okay? So first, let's go over some basic terms that you would see when you are adding. Okay, some terms that you would see when you are adding the word sum. Okay, if the question asks you what is the sum of a certain set of numbers, then sum would tell me to add. Another word that you may see that tells us to add, if you see the term total. What is the total amount? Total tells you also to add. Some other terms you may see in all together. Okay, I'm not going to list all of them, but all together is one. Adding, because you're adding numbers. If you combine something, that's addition. If you also see the term more than, that's addition as well. So let's move on to subtraction. Okay, once again, we're reviewing phrases and vocabulary terms that you will see for the different operations. So we're on subtraction. One phrase you may see or term is the word difference. If the question said, what is the difference between two numbers, or it could be more than two numbers. Another phrase you may see is how many more. And I'm not going to write how, but the phrase many more, how many more, is another phrase that tells us to subtract. Another phrase, less than. Okay, and of course, the symbol itself, minus. Those are just a few phrases that you would see, and some more that you would see for subtraction would be reduced. How much farther, that would tell you to subtract. How many left over would also tell you to subtract. How many remaining, also lower. So those are a few of our subtraction terms. All right, now we're gonna go over multiplication. Now multiplication, you all are just introduced in 3rd grade. So multiplication itself, the phrase times, okay? If you see a question, how many times greater or how many times more is such and such, then that would be a phrase that tells us to multiply. The term each, okay? It says, for example, each student has 3 bags of crayon. And if there are 4 students, 4 times 3 is 12. So that's how many bags of crayons that would be. Sometimes the phrase in all could also be multiplying. You would have to read the word carefully, but this is one that I want you to pay close attention to, is this phrase here, product. If they ask you for the product, product means to multiply, okay? We know that you use factors to multiply, okay? So if you see the word factors, multiple, twice. If you see twice as many, that means 2 times. All right, and lastly, we are going to shift to division. And I'm not gonna go too deep into division because you all don't cover that much division in 3rd grade, but the answer to a division problem is called the quotient. So that's one key phrase or word that you may see, quotient. Also, if you're splitting something evenly, if they ask you to split it up, that means they want you to divide as well. Another word that you may see is half. They say, what is half of a number? That means you're going to split it in half. That means you're going to divide. Okay, so those are just a few of our vocabulary terms for all of our math operations. So now that you know our terms, we want to practice how to fluently add or subtract. All right, so now we are going to practice fluently adding and subtracting numbers. So I have 6 examples, and make sure you have out your paper and pencils or your journals. And we're going to start with the subtraction. 486 minus 25. So remember, please line up your numbers in the correct place values. 486 and 25 will go to the left, farthest to the left. Start with your ones place and line them up accordingly. So we subtract starting in our ones place. 6 minus 5 is 1. 8 minus 2 is 6. And 4 minus nothing, you can put a 0 here if you want, is 4. Basic, simple subtraction. But what you all want to become is fluent addition and subtraction mathematicians. So fluent means that you can do this quickly, you don't think twice, you just do it at a snap of a finger. Okay, next problem, 210 plus 323. Okay, ones place. 0 plus 3 is 3, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5. 210 plus 323 is 533. Okay, next, 244 plus 432. So far we haven't had any regrouping yet. 4 plus 2, start with our ones place, is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. 2 plus 4 is 6. 676. Minus 161. 2 minus 1 is 1. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 9 minus 1 is 8. And lastly, 814 minus 795. Now here's where we're practicing a little bit of regrouping. You cannot take 4 from 5, so you have to borrow from the next place value. So we're in the ones place, we're going to move to the tens. If I take 1 from 1, that turns into a 0. And if I add 10 to this 4, this turns into 14 because I took it from the tens place, so I'm adding 10 to the ones. Okay. Then 14 minus 5 is 9. 0, take away 9, you can't do either. So you have to borrow. Scoot over 1 place value to the left. Now we're in the hundreds. So I'm going to take 1 from here, and since I'm only moving 1 place value, I'm still taking away 10 and adding 10. Okay, that's where that 1 comes in. Now 10 minus 9 is 1, and 7 minus 7 is 0. You don't have to put the 0 there, you could just leave that as 9. So hopefully you all are fluent adding and subtracting mathematicians, and when you have problems like this, you can do them quickly. Don't forget, believe in yourself.